Hey everybody, thank you so much for your patience in waiting for us to return to the main feed. We are officially back. We've got tons of new episodes coming up for you in the new format. But if you've been jonesing to hear us talk about any cartoon related stuff over on our Patreon, Cartoons That Curse After Dark, we've been talking about tons of movies. We've talked about tons of franchises, popular ones people like. Tariq, which ones have we been talking about?
Shrek, Toy Story, Paddington, Ted, Kung Fu Panda. The list goes on and on.
Gumby 1 even. And
yeah.
look, some of our best stuff is on the Patreon. It's our worst kept secret or best kept secret. It's a well kept secret. You guys should go check out our stuff over there. It's really great. Patreon.com/cartoons that curse. If you want a little bit of extra stuff, we've got like 35 episodes over there. Go check it out and cue the theme song.
Word.
I've been watching them for years, it's always been something that fit with all the animated characters that's doing their own bits. With a fry who's in the future and a family guy that sucks. With a father from a hill, a burger family runs amok. The show inspires is the same guy, except he totally say and diverse.
Let's watch cartoons that curse.
Yeah, that's bananas.
As rough.
What the f*** is up, everybody? Welcome to Cartoons That Curse. My name is Johnny. I'm your co-host. I'm here with my other co-host, Tariq. Tariq, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I slept kind of bad, and I woke up at 9 and thought it was like 6. I was like, I have to get up now.
It's one of those mornings.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
It was rough, but I'm feeling good now. I got some coffee. I ate a bowl of cereal, Magic Spoon. And
I need that, man. They still ain't, you know what I mean? I need
protein.
Dude, I only want it for free.
I know. It's so expensive.
But, is it really? I have not checked.
Dude, it's like $10 a box. It's ridiculous.
Sorry if anyone's shit talking there, the person who pays their bills right now.
Look, it's good stuff. I think they stopped doing sponsorships. They did one sponsorship for me. They sent me 10 boxes. I ate more cereal than I've ever eaten in my life for a month. and then they hit me up a few months later and were like, hey, so we want to do another sponsorship with you, but the last one didn't perform very well. Would you be willing to do another one for free? And I was like, maybe if you send me 10 more boxes.
Send me $100 worth of cereal.
All right. We are also here with our guest today, returning to the podcast for the first time in a couple of years. Billiam,
Hello.
aka Billiam. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing really well. I'm so happy to be here.
Good, dude. We're happy to have you back. We had so much fun talking about Beast with a Billion Backs with you, which is funny because we frankly did decide to invite you because we wanted to have the title Beast with a Billion Backs.
Of course.
But it worked out great.
I love it. I can't believe that was that long ago. I just want to say
I know. Well,
it was.
Feels like it was like 1 year ago, maybe.
I know. So this whole podcast, we're like 3 years in now, but we've done it so sporadically that it feels like we just started still, even though we're on like their second iteration of what it is. And
I'm about to say, I think even though we've been doing this for 3 years, I think we literally just got to the position where you could listen to an episode once a week. For a year, and it rounds out to a whole year.
It's true. But we also have discovered that our previous plan to talk about one season of TV a week is a bad plan.
We didn't run out of stuff
pretty quickly.
Yeah, we didn't realize the pandemic would last forever.
Yeah, we mostly just didn't have time to do it. It was just like, this is so much TV.
Yeah.
Which is why like we even did those movies individually, and that was like a little reprieve, which is
absolutely.
And then also we're able to invite guests for those, like, because when we do a whole season of TV, it's really hard to go to someone and be like, hey, will you watch 22 episodes of The Simpsons real quick so you can come on and talk about them?
For like an hour.
Exactly. So we're excited to have you back now in this new format, which is going pretty great so far. So the question we've been asking our guests as they join us for the new format, first question, what are you watching right now? Just in general, what are you watching?
Oh my God. I'm watching and please don't ask me to elaborate on this more. I'm watching all the X-Men movies right now.
Nice.
I just decided I want to watch every movie franchise this year.
I saw that you just did Apes.
I am such a big Planet of the Apes fan now,
good.
let me tell you, because I loved the new trilogy. Then I watched the old ones, and I'm fucking pilled, dude. Like
it's a great franchise, man.
It really is. It really is.
I had always loved those. I remember when the Rise of the Planet of the Apes trailer came out, and it looked so bad. Like it looked like the most unnecessary, silliest pre-boot you could ever imagine, where you're like, why are we doing this? And then it was so good. I remember going to the theater and being just shocked by how much I loved Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And then Dawn and War are also excellent. And I have just a couple years ago, I went back and watched all of the originals as well. And
They're so cool.
A journey.
They're wild, dude. They're
oh my gosh.
wild.
Tariq, I don't know if you've seen those, but like the end of the second movie does something so insane that you're like, how are there more?
that made me so mad. I got so mad after the end of the second one. It's like, can I just say how it ends? Are we any like...
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, spoilers for the second Planet of the Apes film that came out in like 1970.
Apes are ruling the world, and they discover there's like mutant humans underneath the earth, and they worship a nuclear bomb. And like they realize that apes and humans can't live together. So Charlton Heston blows up the world, and it just cuts to black, and a narrator without a second like to spare goes, and that was the end of a little blue planet in the middle of the solar system called Earth.
And that's the end of the second movie.
That's it.
How is this not parodied all the time? What the fuck is that? I haven't even heard that before. That's crazy.
No, I hadn't either. I had not either.
Honestly, the end of every single one of those original Planet of the Apes films is iconic in its own way.
I think so.
It's crazy. But Tariq, the way they continued it is insane, because the first film is human astronauts going to space, coming down to what they think is a different planet filled with apes, and you find out it's actually Earth in the far future. The third movie takes place in, at the time, modern day Los Angeles, and a space capsule lands in the ocean off the coast of Los Angeles. What walks out of that? Apes. Three apes. They are two apes from the original trilogy, from the original movie, who used the same spaceship from the first movie, went into space, went back in time, came back to modern times, and the last three movies are about how they were the beginning of the Planet of the Apes.
Get the fuck out of here.
It's fucking wild, dude.
Insane. It's insane.
The actors who play them are so charming. It's ridiculous. They become celebrities.
Yeah. That is the best part about that. Like they're like, the first two are so bleak, and then the third one is like a comedy about celebrity apes in Los Angeles. It's great. It's really great stuff.
We might need to do like a monkey pod or something.
Oh my god! If you do, let me know. If you do,
I am interested.
The only one I haven't seen is Burton's, which I've heard is very bad.
Yeah, I
I've heard
watched
that too.
it. Its production value is pretty wild.
Cool.
So it's
true.
It's worth watching. But it's
I feel
so
like
bad.
that's the through line for all of them, is like, of the time, incredible production value across the board. Like the makeup in the originals is so insanely good. And then obviously the VFX in these new ones are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Man,
that, I can attest to that. I saw one of them in theaters. I think it was the second. Is Dawn the second one?
Yeah, Dawn is the second
That's
one.
the one I saw. I saw that one.
I think
really I remember liking that one. Yeah.
Good movie. I think they should have switched the titles of Rise and Dawn.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right, Dawn, and then Rise, right? Because then, like, if it's the sun is dawning and then rises, right?
I guess they didn't have the titles planned or something.
No, they blew it.
I think there's still probably some other workshopping they could do for the second one. Then they could have like not did. Dawn.
Yeah, you're so right.
Like,
what comes after Rise?
I'm just curious what the heck they're going to do now.
Stabilization.
The plateau of the planet.
The plateau of the planet of the That's good.
They allegedly have plans for like 5 more of these things.
Oh, I know.
Yo, Billiam.
5 more?
Yes.
I gotta live like 20 more years.
Gotta see him do it.
But I hope, honestly, because they started this and they're pre-boot territory and they're still like leading up to the time in which the original takes place, I really hope that the 9th one is called Planet of the Apes.
That'd be wild.
I
want number 7 to start with Planet of the Apes, and I want psychic humans, I want time travel, I want celebrity apes, and like I want James Franco to come back if they can get him, and I want him to be like Caesar to be like, you know, you're gonna start this whole thing, or like Caesar's like kin, you know,
right,
like a silly movie at the end. That's what I want.
Oh man, I'm excited to see what they do next. I thought this new one was pretty fun. My friend, I had a friend who worked on it, so I went with her, and some of her friends saw it in IMAX, and she was working she was in the VFX department, which is like,
I'm sure
it's just unbelievable VFX.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also just like. I watched this movie and I was like, oh, they don't make movies that look this good anymore.
No.
No. It's like this and Avatar, and like everything else is like, oh, it doesn't. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
I'm hoping we're at like a correction moment where things are going to
hopefully, but
improve.
it seems like the way they don't want to pay anyone that we're not.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's at a correction moment too.
Right.
Yeah, right. There you go.
All right, cool. That was a great apes tangent, man. Maybe we should do an offshoot podcast about apes.
We should.
Please.
We missed April Fool's Day. That would have been pretty good.
Oh my god.
April Fool's Day.
Mikey, cut this part out the podcast. We want to save it for next year.
Nobody can hear this. Nobody can hear this.
Oh man. Okay. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your YouTube channel. You started years ago. Like I'm looking through your stuff. Your first video that you have listed is 11 years ago. Have you left all your videos up, or do you have stuff private?
I have quite a few things privated, and there might be more privated in the future.
Talk about it.
I have some videos that are compilations that have done better than any of the individual parts. I'm thinking about
that happens.
House cleaning,
crazy, right?
I feel like.
Yeah. But nobody will miss anything.
Right.
But I guess, man, I have loved video production since I was a little kid. And I think I uploaded my first stuff to YouTube in like 2007, I want to say.
Wow. Like when YouTube started.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Nothing I made back then was like anything that had any sort of substantiality to it. It was just like me, like, I'm going to become famous, you know, like, but I started doing commentary videos probably about 10 years ago. Yeah. With like video game reviews. And top 10s, you know how that used to be. Yeah. So I started talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think that sort of naturally evolved into like 2000s nostalgia in general. And so now I have just a huge umbrella to talk about whatever I want. So I talk about everything from Digimon to Gossip Girl.
Yeah, you living a dream, man. You can literally talk about whatever.
Not everything does well, unfortunately. But I would like to start a second channel up soon that's more dedicated to like toys and cartoons and stuff.
Cool.
So, yeah, just because I love that stuff. But I find it hard to write about that stuff because I think now the space, there's so many people who are in that world and really educated on it. And like, I need to think of a more casual space to discuss the stuff because of it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm like, looking through your videos. It's so funny how the evolution is so natural, weirdly, but it's also just like, man, you started at Sonic what the fuck moments, and then you're talking about like 2000s retro tech, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I love it. It's crazy.
It was all my world as a kid. It felt like it was all related, you know, like, so, and I think a lot of people have this experience where they're like, it seems like you had the same childhood I did. And I'm like, yeah, we kind of did. Like, we all grew up at the same time, watched the same things, and a lot of the toys I play with are just things that like I watched commercials for on the like, on the channel, and it's stuff was like I kind of wanted that, but I never had it as a kid. And
I was gonna ask you about that. So is that like how those come about? Like there's so many things you talk about to where it's like they always say that like me and Johnny, like we unlock memories because we bring up like an old episode of a cartoon. But like these are like things that are like in the crevice of my mind, like the pin that like listens, like that like speaks to you while you write. Like so, I wanted to. Is that like how do you even get to the point where you think of all these toys that you want to go get?
There's a lot of first stage is like what I remember. Then I like do deep dives and like looking at old like catalogs. Like there's not too many. I mean I haven't done a toy video in a couple years, but from when I was looking, there weren't too many from like the year 2000 to like the year 2010. A lot of the people who upload these archives online are really nostalgic for like the 70s to the 90s. Right. So I try to find a lot of those and just like see things listed. A lot of commercials advertise multiple toys because they're advertising a whole toy line. So like I think I had the Spy Pen as a kid, but like I remember all the other parts of the toy line as well. And then eBay is wild. Like I just look up like there was a toy brand called Wild Planet that made all the Spy Gear toys. And so if I just look up Wild Planet, I see all these like offshoots that they made. Nice. And then I discover things that way too. And then people are great on YouTube uploading like any kind of content that might have been related to that. So it's, you know, you guys do it. So you just keep looking. You just keep looking.
Yeah, man, it's so funny. So many of the things you talked about are things I had. Like I had the Poochie. Obviously everyone had Furbies, but I had the dog. I had the Poochie.
Yeah, I didn't have a Furby. My mom hated Furby. Like
she was correct.
Yeah. But I had Poochie. And all the reasons she hated Furby, Poochie also did too. It would like it would come alive when you didn't want it to.
Yes.
And that's her main problem with Furby. But Poochie's cuter. Poochie's way cuter than Furby is. So
Furby is scary.
Yeah, those things. Yeah, I can't believe everybody had them shits.
I know, it's so weird. It's such an interesting. The people in the 90s, they needed something.
Johnny, did you have a video now?
I never had a video now.
I had both of them shits. I had
I'm a little bit older. I'm a little bit older than you guys, so I didn't have the video now. I never had any of the like, even I had a Game Boy Advance and stuff, but I never did the like video cartridges on the.
I had those.
Yeah, I had a handful of those. And my older sister had a video now. She's 2 years older than me. So she had that in the jukebox. And so,
dude, I wanted the juke.
Yeah.
I wanted it. Yeah.
So my older sister's definitely like my knowledge of stuff from back then's way bigger because I had a sister who was my age and into almost my age and into like all the girl type stuff, you know.
Totally.
So it's just I have a huge brain for this stuff.
I love it, man. And then you eventually started doing stuff about like all of these old sort of I guess now they're like reality TV, but like the informational television channels like Discovery and the Learning Channel and all that stuff. And you like really got deep into that, which is like every single one of them is its own rabbit hole.
Thank you. Yeah, they're great topics.
When you made that video about when Discovery like made those fake documentaries about like mythical creatures, it unlocked part of my brain. I was like, oh my God, I watched that dragon one and was so mad. I was a kid and I was so mad to learn that it was just fake.
And I let them tell me at the beginning of the special, like, it's like, this is fake. This is not real. And I watched it anyways. And I was like, this is real. This is true.
Oh man,
dude, that like series that you did on TLC.
Oh, thank you.
Great content.
Yeah,
like,
thank you for the shout out. That made my like fucking week, dude.
Fam, that was like, because I never told you, but that was like the era where like if I would go in my living room and I would turn the TV on and go to YouTube. It would be like 5 billion videos.
Oh my
just
God,
waiting
that's
for
awesome,
me.
dude.
I was inhaling them shits for a while.
Oh, thank you.
Those are good. I love those. The Amish joint, forget about it.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. Like, what were they like? I know what they were thinking, but like, did they think they would get away with like?
Yeah, I don't know. And it just unravels. You find out this was fake, that was fake.
Yeah,
it's
other. All, and I'm sure there's so much more to it, but like,
right, yeah,
you have to stop at some point.
Yeah.
Oh man. I love this. Not this last video. I mean, doing the Frozen Once Upon a Time stuff. I watched the other day. Insane. That show. I've never seen that show, but that's the only thing I've consumed about Once Upon a Time. Looks insane.
It's best consumed out of context. It's
perfect.
Just,
great. But I do want to shout out your video about all the tourist traps is such a genius video idea.
Such thank you.
A brilliant idea.
You guys are so sweet. Like,
it's so good.
I gotta leave for a second.
You're just good.
But it's something that like everyone kind of knows about, but doesn't necessarily think about. And so, you know what I mean? It's like everyone's seen one of those tourist traps, or like everyone knows they exist. And so like, I don't know, to just be like, oh yeah, I went to all of them if you want to know what they're all like is so smart. It's such a good idea. You. And also it had to have just been so fun to make, to go to
oh my God,
right,
it was a blast. I started to not let it get to me when people accuse me of like doing things just to write it off. I'm like, sure,
embrace that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, it'd be different if you like made bad shit, but like it's like good.
Thank you.
And also, like, if you're spending a bunch of money to show people all this stuff, you should be allowed to write it off. Who cares?
Yeah, I would not.
They didn't send you out there.
I would not go to any of these things. Maybe like a couple of them of my own accord.
Sure.
But like it was a blast. I loved that, and people responded really well because my partner Savannah was featured in it very heavily, and like people love our on-screen chemistry. So what can you beat about that kind of reception? You know,
yeah,
for real. Yeah, just reaffirmation of your relationship and a video.
And, it's cool.
Not at all, man.
Amazing. Oh man. Okay, so I guess talking about this world that we talk about here on the podcast, we had you on for Futurama before. When I reached out to you, asked you to come on, you came back to me with 4 episodes, 2 Simpsons and 2 Futuramas. So you broke the rules twice. Because we said we want 3 different shows, and you were like, and you did 4 episodes.
It was so hard. Right, it's so
we're gonna let you break 1 rule this week.
You asked me to be on this months ago, and I got so much anxiety about just picking episodes, and I never got back to you. That's like literally the only reason why it took me so long. I was like, do I want to talk about that or this or that? I'm like, it was overwhelming.
You know what though? I was happy though. Like we've kind of made people choose 3 different shows so that we have more variety.
Yeah.
But when you chose Simpsons and Futurama, we were like, well, this is our bread and butter. We had them on for Futurama before, and also I was like, well, he chose some good Simpsons episodes.
That's the thing too. He chose ones that we couldn't argue against. Is really what it was.
So awesome. I love these episodes so much.
And so we decided to let you have 3 Simpsons episodes. We're calling this episode "Oops, All Simpsons" with Billiam.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do.
But also, we trapped you. We're going to have you back for 3 Futuramas in the future as well. So great.
Twist my arm.
But I want to ask, because you're clearly a big fan of Simpsons and Futurama, and you've never done videos about them, right? Have you ever talked about them on your channel?
No, I think it's the same reason why it's hard for me to keep talking about animation, is because there's so many people who do it well, like you guys, and Talking Simpsons. I'm sorry, the Real Jims.
Yeah.
I've seen his stuff.
Yeah, Real Jims. Real Jims.
This is the first time
we gotta
I've
have
said
Jims
his
on
name out loud. Yeah, he's great. He's excellent, and I'm sure I'll get a spark to do something one day, but I'm eating right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm just consuming it.
I feel that.
I feel ya. Yeah, I'm just sure there's people clamoring for the Billiam Futurama retrospective. So
I am people.
Yeah, but I mean, Tariq, you changed my mind on Family Guy a little bit. I mean,
I like
that. It's just the truth. I mean, I still have things about the show that give me the ick, but like,
which I understand.
It's a funny fucking show, and it's decently consistent.
It knows what it mostly knows what it is. It's like that's the thing. Is like I feel like the people who criticize it are expecting it to be something that it's not, and I'm like, well, just like appreciate the comedy it brings to the table.
And it's never gonna be anything different. Like every show has its quality up and downs, and it's Family Guy.
Yeah. Those are the ones I have a problem with is when like the show acts like it doesn't know what it is, when it tries to like tackle something. Where it's like, come on, guys, like y'all can't do this. Like that's when I have a problem. But like if like a Family Guy episode's crime is that it's stupid, then it's just a Family Guy episode.
Yeah,
you know? So it's like,
absolutely.
I think Tariq might be like the number one like cause of Family Guy rehabilitation in the cultural
I believe
zeitgeist.
so. I really do. I absolutely.
It's my responsibility.
I mean, the whole reason we started this podcast is because he made a video about Family Guy, and it was about an old episode that I liked from the older stuff, and I had fallen out of love with the show for years at this point. And I hit him. I was like, man, this. I was like, that episode is so good, and we started talking about it. We jumped on a call and we geeked out about cartoons for 2 hours. And we're like, maybe we should do this more.
You know, I think about that a lot because I just think about how like that is so not in my character to like jump on a random call and just be like, hey, new guy. I had just got home from work and we like talked for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was so easy. It was effortless.
Sometimes you just know.
That's right.
Sometimes you just know.
Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about, you chose 3 episodes from season 7 of The Simpsons, which is Tariq's favorite season, right?
Hell yeah. I loved hearing that. Like,
so this is the first season run by Josh Weinstein and Bill Oakley.
Yeah.
Great showrunners. Weinstein gave me a cool retweet the other day because I tweeted. Actually, it's an joke we're going to talk about. That Planet of the Apes clip was going around because the Apes movies came out, and so I just retweeted being like, "This is this might be the funniest moment in Simpsons history," and Weinstein follows me because I'm a disenchantment head, one of the few, and he quote tweeted that, and if you look into all the replies, he's giving all these stories about how they wrote the Planet of the Apes thing. We'll talk about it when
I did not
it's
see
so
this
cool.
thread. Please,
I'll send it to you.
I cannot wait to hear. Yeah,
it's so cool.
Oh
It's so cool. But you know what I was looking up? So I was looking up this episode. You chose A Fish Called Selma. Actually, before we get into it, I want to ask. This was the 3rd episode you chose. You had chosen 2 others, and then you decided, all right, let's do this one as well. So I'm going to ask you about all 3 of them. Why did you choose this episode?
So the other 2 I chose for a very like together reason. Like they both are chosen for the same reason, but I chose this one. It was going to be this one or the Raging Abe Simpson and the
good one. Another good one.
Because I really love rewatching The Simpsons in recent years. I've realized how much I love like the extended family and how much like Marge offers the show and like Selma and Patty offer the show. And I think this is a great example of not only like a Patty and Selma episode or a Selma episode, but of a gag character getting their own episode and it not being just annoying. It's like one of the funniest. I think this has some of the funniest running jokes like in throughout the single episode, not like in the series, but like the recurring gags in this episode.
Yeah,
Sorry,
great.
They're excellent. They're awesome, and just taking a second to actually write things down for this podcast, I'm like, this is even better than I thought.
There's so many gags in this one that I just forgot or missed.
Yeah.
Like there's so many little gags that I'm like, that for like the first time ever registered for me. I've seen this episode so many times. Okay, so I was looking up this episode. Bizarrely, only writing credit for this guy ever is this episode.
Really?
It's a guy named Jack Barth. I'm assuming he was not part of the writer's room. I'm assuming he was a freelancer.
Yeah.
Here's the weirdest thing about this guy. He is best known for creating the story that was the basis for the film Yesterday that came out a few years ago.
What?
Interesting. So random.
Yeah, that is very.
I mean,
So
I guess
strange.
it's like a very marketable story, I guess. He just
It
held
is.
on to it.
Yes,
It's his
totally.
golden goose.
Have you guys seen that movie yesterday?
No, I have not. I've seen the ending.
Wanted to.
You've seen the ending.
I've seen because I'm always fat. I'm sorry. Can I say that they reanimate John Lennon at the end of the movie? Like
they do that.
What? Yeah, it's
it's a different timeline, Tariq.
Yeah, it's like it's AU Beatles.
Oh, dude, that stinks. What?
Yeah, it's so like the trailers captivated me.
Me too. Like, I've always wanted to see it.
I think it's worth watching. It's a bizarre movie, but I don't know. I was kind of charmed by it. It's like there's a lot of it that's just baffling. They make a lot of weird, baffling decisions. But I was pretty charmed by it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's good.
I like Across the Universe, so like. I know a lot of people don't, but like you throw Beatles music in a film, I'm like, okay, it's like, I'll watch it.
I get it. That'll get me.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about A Fish Called Selma. And so, like you said, this is one of the only times we've even seen Troy McClure outside of the context of a movie clip or on the TV or anything.
Yeah.
Like he's been in the show forever, but he very rarely shows up in person. He's always on something.
I never even registered that. You're so right.
Yeah, me either. I agree. I think you're right.
And so like for that to work so well is crazy. I don't, it's a lot of it's a testament to Phil Hartman, just one of the greatest to ever do it.
Absolutely. He elevates every single episode he's in, and he's in so much of these episodes and these early seasons too. Like he is a present character. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and he's not only Troy but Lionel Hutz. They're just such consistent characters.
Yeah,
and then whatever random side character they need,
they just
like
throw
Lyle
in,
Lanley.
Lyle Lanley.
Man, so I want to say up top, when I was a kid, I had seen this episode so many times. All the fish stuff went so far over my head.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, this is wild.
It is an insane storyline to have. Trying to rehabilitate his career, like
like I guess as a kid I was just like, he's not a popular actor anymore. He just wants to rehab his career. But like
in old Muppets movies.
Yes, exactly. Right. But the whole idea that it's because he's got this weird fish fetish went all the way out.
Dude, his agent, one of the lines I wrote down, his agent says if he wants to keep doing film roles, it says just keep getting seen in public with human females.
Yeah.
It's like, jeez.
And I love that Marge like defends him at the beginning of the episode. It's like, oh, those are just rumors.
I think the funniest reference to it, I mean, they do it throughout the episode. There's the running gag is everyone being shocked about him being seen with a human woman. But I think the best one is Fat Tony.
Oh yeah,
It's just like, no, what I said was he sleeps with the fishes.
And he said, I wrote down because what is his name? Legs. What is the?
Oh yeah, what is the side? The crony.
I think Legs is the one from Futurama. Is it?
It probably
Clamps.
is.
That's Clamps.
No, that's Clamps and Joey Mousepad are Futurama.
Joey Mousepad.
He says he throws up this food, and I was like, I thought I wrote it down, but it's not a real food. Like it's just some like another made up
nonsense
word,
like Italian,
it's like rigamagoo or something like that.
That's like that's one of the things about these old Simpsons is it just feels like every moment has some layer of comedy to it. Even
so hard to take notes.
All three of these, all three of these episodes, there's like, man, especially the last one we're gonna talk about. There was like a moment where like I had to pause the episode to like write stuff down.
Yeah, just to catch up with
so many gags.
Right.
And I love all the gags for Troy's films, of course, and this gives us like a whole like barrage of them.
Yes, the 1-2 punch of them beginning the movie by watching Muppets Go Medieval and then Selma being like, he's taking me to his latest film, and it's Muppets Go Medieval.
And I love the parallels between Selma and Miss Piggy, like during that scene.
He's like proposing while he's proposing to Miss Piggy. It's so
he's
good.
like saying the movie lines alongside her, like he's seen it so many times. It's so good.
There was one joke towards the end of the episode that I watched with my girlfriend last night, and she was like laughing the whole episode. She would laugh so hard at this joke that she hadn't stopped laughing by the time the episode ended. And it's a joke that I never even registered. And it was the joke when he's talking about the rehabilitation of his career if they have a kid, and he's like, I could even get my own fragrance. Smelling of Troy. Just smelling of Troy destroyed her.
That's good. Smelling of Troy is good. That's really good.
Oh man, gosh.
It's man, jokes. Phil Hartman, like we said, he makes every line hilarious.
Yeah.
When Selma confronts him, like, are we in a sham marriage? He's just like, sure, baby, is there a problem? Like, it's like this. It's the most calm read.
That conversation is one of the funniest, like jokes, like stretches in this episode, because then she says, "Don't you love me?" And he goes, "Sure, baby, like Fresca." I think "Sure, baby, like Fresca's" been in my vernacular for like because every Simpsons fan, like, their language changes.
It does, yeah.
And it's just such like the lamest thing. It's not your favorite. It's nobody's favorite.
Nobody's favorite.
And then him saying he wishes he was gay. And the dark turned. He's like, what I have is a romantic reality. It's like, that is, like you said, the performance like switches in that like 1 minute is incredible. It's like his range. So good. Troy McClure has range.
That one moment is when I wrote down probably my favorite note that I've taken for this entire episode is when like I wrote down, man, he really loves that fish shit. Like, it's like that's when it was definite. I was like, this is not a rumor.
He's trapped.
It's in him. And then like, man, even they don't even like address it, which I think makes it funnier when they go in the bedroom and there's just fish. There's an aquarium. They don't even say anything about it.
And then when he gets up for the McBain movie role, he jumps up and says, "I'm going to SeaWorld."
Yeah. I don't know why that didn't even like, oh shit.
It's so good.
It's one of my favorite recurring jokes in The Simpsons is the Troy McClure's fish fetish.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
So ridiculous. And it's like you said, just over my head as a kid.
Yeah, I just had no idea. But like even like like when the news report is talking about him like being seen with his with the woman, and he goes, "Wait, a woman?" He's shocked on air. On air.
All right. Dude, oh man, this poor guy.
Okay, since we were talking about it before, let's talk about
let's go to it.
The Planet of the Apes. Let's talk about the Planet of the Apes.
Incredible.
This is all coming back around.
Incredible.
I genuinely think this is like, after rewatching it, I rewatched it like 7 times this week because it was going around Twitter, and every time I like came up on my feed, I was like, I'm gonna watch this again.
Me too.
I truly think it's the funniest sequence in Simpsons history. Like in my opinion.
I think I agree with you. I mean, like, I thought so much about the Planet of the Apes because of this sequence.
Yes, same. This is my real introduction to the Planet of the Apes.
Me too. But
it's so funny.
It's every single joke lands in this sequence.
This whole like it's the most quoted part, but from chimpanzee to chimpanzee,
it's perfect.
It's like
it's a perfect
astronomically funny. Like it's like otherworldly.
And then when he like breaks down so quickly, he goes, "Oh my gosh, I was wrong."
Yes,
and I love the chorus coming in with the "Yes, we finally made a monkey," because you can just like imagine that being like in the whole show, like a recurring motif.
Yes.
Like, you won't make a monkey out of me.
Yeah. It's so complete. You get the whole thing.
The fact that like that joke, that part has always made me laugh. But this time I really thought about how that is the final song of that play. That is that cheery ass song. Is how they decide to end
it's like, congratulations. It's like happy. And then I couldn't help but to laugh while watching Planet of the Apes, because at the end he says, "I love you, Dr. Zaius."
Yes,
and it's such
you, Dr. Zaius.
And it's such like a funny way to abridge the events of the movie into like a final beat while just completely erasing like what actually happens in the movie. Like it's like a real adaptation, and it's just so like they're nerds, and it makes everything they talk about so much funnier. And like when Bart and Homer are just so impressed with it all.
Yeah, and they love it. They love it.
And Bart being like, this play has everything, and Homer saying, I love legitimate theaters also in my vernacular.
Oh my God. And I'm so curious, like, if when they wrote that, because that's a funny line, but like the sauce that Castellaneta puts on him, goes, "I love legitimate theater." Like the way he pronounces theater is so
like,
funny.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
and
exactly.
There are so many musicals that are Planet of the Apes, the musical. Like just this, this like Disney kind of overproduced, big Back to the Future, the musical, like. My girlfriend was in Freaky Friday, the musical, and like I just was sitting there. I was sitting there saying, "I love legitimate theater." The whole time.
Yes, for real. I'm gonna say I'm about to move to New York, and I think I'm gonna say it every time I go to the theater. I think every time I'm there, I'm gonna be like, "I love legitimate theater."
Dude, when are you thinking about it? Like when is it gonna happen?
I'll probably be there next month. I'm like I know it's coming up soon. I'm going to be there in 2 days to find an apartment.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm going up in July, so
hit me up.
Yeah, and you're in Newark, right? Like that's not
Philly.
Oh, you're in Philly.
We can all get together.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
okay.
Pull up.
Hell yeah.
Fuck that would be great. That would be awesome. Heck yeah. We'll go see some legitimate theater.
Yeah, we'll go see some legitimate theater.
Of course. Yes, I got to get some spectacles. Like.
Legitimate theater, boy.
Okay, so going back to the chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Yeah,
I was looking for this through Weinstein's thread that he tweeted, because everyone was just asking questions about it.
Yeah.
And so someone said, that's one of their favorite lines. And Weinstein, I love this quote. He said, "I can still visualize exactly where I was in the room and where David Cohen was when he pitched it. It was as magical and hilarious at that moment as it is now, and is one of the lines that just inspired everybody else to take it to the next level." So
oh my
great.
God, and they did. They really fucking did. It's like I cannot. Like the marquee at the beginning as well, and he's the happiest man in the world.
You're playing the human. It's the part I was born to play.
And Jeff Goldblum as the agent is just
I forgot that
I didn't know.
Yeah,
he's so good.
I didn't listen to it before this, but I remember he's on the commentary track.
Oh, so, is he really?
Yes. So if you want a little like, extra,
I do have that DVD. I'll have to go.
I do too.
So,
yeah.
Just a little tip for you.
The other two moments in this that crack me up the most every time is it's so weird. This is so small, but it's like just once the music starts, the percussion, just the specific percussion that's playing. Yes, exactly. That's so funny. And then they start singing Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. And then what I cry laughing
I know what you're
going
to
to
say.
Is the breakdancing.
Yeah,
it's the breakdancing.
Because you know what's so funny, right? Is when you put up the tweet and then like you texted me about it, I didn't rewatch the clip because it's so engraved in my brain. When you brought up you said like, man, the breakdancing kills me. I saw it in my head, but I was like, yeah, that shit is funny. But seeing it now, whoever animated this deserves a medal. Like that, the way it is so realistic, that breakdance. It's not even like a floaty cartoon thing. It looks like a human.
I love how still Dr. Zaius is when all the apes are dancing around him.
Dude, dancing around, that is also one of the funniest things ever, is them just doing this to Dr. Zaius.
Another just incredibly clever line is, "What's wrong with me? I think you're crazy. I want a second opinion. You're also lazy."
That's like, so good.
It fucking kills me. It really does. It's a whole story in this like 2-minute sequence.
Yes. That is, and I think like what you guys were saying before is you can totally envision what this entire musical is from just this sequence. and I want to see it.
I do too. I
do
really
too.
do. Just
I
like
do
at least
too.
like a 5-minute version,
Right. Right. Incredible.
This is one of those things that like they could have did this as like an extended Simpsons thing. They could have made this. Made the play
its own thing.
Yeah.
They love it enough.
Have you guys ever, I'm sure you guys know because you're both Simpsons dorks, but the name Jub Jub, the iguana. Do you guys know where that came from?
Yeah, Conan.
No, it's Conan. So
when did
according to Conan, when he was in that Simpsons writers room, whenever there was like, often when there was just any silence or they were thinking of stuff, he would just kind of randomly go Jub Jub. He would just like say Jub Jub, and he would just do that randomly. And then they were trying to come up with the name for this iguana, and he just immediately went Jub Jub.
Dude,
and they named it Jub Jub.
Hearing Conan tell those stories about how he used to behave in that room is so funny. He was like he would, like he said, sometimes he would just like fill his mouth with like Coca-Cola and just like spew foam out, like just to make everybody laugh. Like, and like they would be like,
I remember. What's the book called? The Springfield Connection?
Springfield Confidential.
Springfield Confidential.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they talk about Conan as like the life energy of the room. When he was there.
Yeah.
It's just like, I want to be that. I want to spit up Coca-Cola in front of
Yeah,
everybody.
right.
I mean, if I can take a quick Conan tangent, that's the thing that got him his job, and it's because he was never an on-camera dude. He had done improv. He was a writer, but his whole dream was to write for Letterman. Like that was to him the pinnacle of his success. It was like, I want to write for David Letterman. He submitted a packet. They didn't accept him. He wrote for SNL as like a backup, and he felt like his career had like flatlined. He was like, oh my God, I've ruined my career. I've lost my dream. But that energy he brought to writers' rooms is what made Lorne Michaels recognize that this dude is such a natural talent to entertain.
Something.
And so like the guy that no one else would have ever been like, oh yeah, you should be a talk show host. Lorne Michaels was like, well, this is the guy. And he got to replace David Letterman because he didn't get the Letterman job. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I just obsessed with Conan as well.
Same.
Like,
he's my actual favorite.
Yeah.
He's an all-time great. He's
for sure.
Okay, there's so many good jokes in here. I wrote down so many jokes. Like when they're at the wedding and they say Selma Bouvier to Terwilliger Bouvier.
Yeah.
To give her full name because she married Sideshow Bob.
It's
so funny.
And
dude, after the play, when Troy McClure calls Selma to stand up, and Homer just yells down in front. It's so mean.
I also love the like they go against your expectations that Homer is going to be the one to tell Selma about Troy like being with her to like cover up his fish fetish.
Yeah.
And then it's just like him totally distracted during the wedding.
He says it to Marge.
Yeah, and that sequence too, that line of jokes when he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Troy's like only in a marriage like to disguise his fetish. Like, okay, let's snuggle. It's like and then that's I always forget what moment this is at, but when he turns off the lights and Marge's eyes are still open and he asks her to close them. I convince myself that's in every episode where they're in bed together.
Right. I know. I forgot that was this one, but that is one of one of the jokes most burned into my brain. And because anytime they keep a character's eyes open in the dark like that's the joke I think of, even if they don't make that joke. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Maybe they do make it in more than one episode.
Maybe
I'm just like gaslit.
It's a good joke. So
yeah,
it is.
I do think, and then Homer distracted at the wedding, like you said. I think that's another one that is just so sold by Castellaneta's performance, where he's just
giving it all
emphatically. Da, 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 hey,
he's there. He's there wherever he's at. He's
right there. Honestly, too, I think like what makes that so funny is it's just anything in like before the show went digital is always funny. When you can hear the room, you can hear how loud he's yelling because you can hear the room, and that makes it so much fun.
Yeah, for real.
I love the Homer head jokes like that. My favorite one is when when he's in court and he's talking to Bart telepathically.
Meow,
meow, meow, meow, meow. It's so funny.
I know you're listening to me, boy.
They always do good ones. Isn't there one where it's just like a goat chewing a can in his head? There's one where it's like one of those monkeys clapping.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's the movie.
I just watched the movie again.
Nice.
When we started dating, my girlfriend and I started from the beginning.
Oh,
and so we finally finished season 18. And now
are you guys still going? Because there's
naturally.
That middle era is the middle era is always where I drop off when I'm doing a rewatch.
I've done that traditionally, like for the past 10 years, and I watched a lot of those when I was a kid. But I've been rewatching the middle ones now, and there's a lot of funny jokes in them. I think there's a lot of off-putting ones too. They make so many like suicide and homophobic jokes, which would
there's like a
absorbed into it would be absorbed into Futurama a little bit,
a little bit.
Yeah, but it's just the tone's a little off at times, but I think it's pretty solid, like actually.
Yeah, I think on my last rewatch I got to season 18 or 19 or so. And I need to go through it again because I kind of
stopped like right before the HD.
Yeah, basically. There's like a middle section that I've seen a lot of them, but I've not seen all of them. And and then I picked back up more recently within the last 7 years or so, where I'm like, seasons 28 to now I've pretty much seen. But yeah, there's just like a middle section.
Remember when that spreadsheet thing was floating around and see whatever how many Simpsons episodes you watched, and me and you we met up and tried to figure out what we saw. It just made me think about that.
Who made this spreadsheet?
It was going around on Twitter or something.
Okay,
it was just every episode, and it allowed you to put an X or something if you saw it. And then it calculated how many you saw. It said 300 out of 700 or whatever. It really is
Excel.
Perspective. Yeah, to show you how much of your life you threw away.
Well, that is
let
also
alone how many
though.
times you've watched them more than once.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That is funny to think about though. So you guys are both a little younger than me. So you grew up on that era. I grew up I obviously was watching reruns, so the early stuff I saw a lot, but the new stuff when I was most obsessed with The Simpsons was the Scully into the beginning of the Al Jean era. Right. So it was seasons 10 through 15 were when I was prime, I'm watching. And a lot of people hate the Scully era. A lot of people think the Scully era is when the show started going downhill, but I have such fond memories and such a love for a lot of the stuff in that era.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they're super iconic ones. I'm not that big on that era, but there's super iconic ones in there for sure. Undeniably. That's I Am Furious Yellow and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's early Gene, right? I think that's early Gene.
Is it? I thought that was the but it's still the same pocket of the show.
Yes, definitely. Season 13. So that would have been Gene's first season. But that one was so fun. I remember when that aired, that one making a huge splash. And partially it's because I was a comic book nerd and it was a Hulk parody,
Oh, and Stan Lee was in it.
Yes, that's right. Oh, yeah. I always remember the joke when he shoves the thing into that kid's Batmobile and breaks it. And he's like, "You broke my Batmobile." And he's like, "Broke or made better?"
That was a great episode. There are a ton of great gags.
Yes,
in those
totally.
Episodes. And I don't remember any standouts, but I do remember there being some sleeper hits that just people don't talk about.
Yeah,
I watched the other day. I watched which is an episode I always really like, but I watched it again and I love it now. It's what's that shit called? Mo Baby Blues from season 15. That's the one with Mo and Maggie.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
that one's really
I watched
good.
that one a lot as it was on reruns a lot for some reason. I feel but that is a really solid episode.
And that was really good.
Yeah.
Billy, have you been keeping up with newer Simpsons? Have you been up to date? I haven't been watching the newest season, but yeah,
I don't watch every episode, but I've probably seen in the last 2 or 3 seasons because I feel like people have said it's been getting a new tone kind of.
Yeah.
Is there a new showrunner? Do you guys know?
So 33, 34, and 35 primarily have been run by Matt Selman, who started on the show in season 9. His first episode is what's it called? It's the one where Homer and Marge are having sex with them
born
at the
kissers?
at the mini golf.
Yes, they return.
But so it's like the first new showrunner in like 20 years.
Yeah,
and Al Jean still showruns a few episodes.
Yeah, of course.
a year.
I'm sure he's like still involved.
Yeah. But man, it's just got it feels like it has a different tone. It's got a little bit more of a like heartfelt vibe at the end of every episode. Yeah.
I've enjoyed what I've seen.
Yeah, 33 and 34 have some like really great ones. I actually haven't watched any season 35 yet. I gotta sit down and like do a 35 marathon. But
yeah,
you can usually there's some like real good. They just parodied The Bear. That one was really good.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
I watched the Larry episode. Sorry,
I want to watch that. I almost turned that on because it's so interesting.
Yeah, I like that one.
Cool.
I think like in general, it's. You can usually tell what era of the show you're in, or if the show is about to change, depending on like how Homer's written. And since Homer went from like being like really like stubborn to now he's like a sweetheart, like a teddy bear.
Yeah.
So like that's how you can tell it's like something different is going on now.
Do you feel like the show's responding to like Family Guy and like Bob's Burgers? Because to me, like when it got edgier, that's when Family Guy was out.
Yeah,
and like Bob's Burgers like is very popular, and it's like it embraces the wholesome quality,
right?
And so like maybe that made them feel more like safe to go back to that. I don't know.
Right. I think you're right in that way. Especially like that's something I noticed as a kid. The Family Guy thing is like you watch stuff from like a certain era. When Family Guy was running at a certain era, it's like, oh shit, this is like, you can tell they're like trying to be like a little meaner. Yeah.
I guess, is it like a direct response to those shows, or is it just like the comedic climate of the time, you know?
That's really what I'm wondering.
Yeah. Probably a little bit of both.
Because I think about like the, like how Homer's written now and how like they're embracing like the wholesome stuff. And like, part of me feels like it's like a response to like Bob's Burgers, but I also feel like it's like they just kind of one day somebody just like looked around them and said like, wait, all these dads are angry now. Like everybody hates their family. Yeah. Like, well, let's try to do something else with Homer instead.
Right. It's like the standard, like when a show like an adult animated show comes out.
Yeah, they just gotta hate their family. Also, you know, to this floating timeline thing, the Real Jim's brought it up, but like Homer's a millennial now, so he has to adopt that parenting style, I guess. Too.
It is funny, like in early Simpsons, like I'd be like I'm thinking about season 1. What's the episode? There's that episode where Homer is like, it's not that he hates his family, but it's that he's really there's an episode where he's really embarrassed by them. Yeah, no disgrace like home. And it's like a different vibe where it's like, oh yeah, he is upset at his family because they're a pain, but it's like it's framed so differently than him just being like furious at them, as him being like, we're broken and we need to be fixed.
He tries. He always tries. That's his best like trait, I feel like.
Exactly. Yes. He's a great character.
He is.
All right, we should probably move on to the next one. We can go on forever.
I wanted to bring up the last line of the episode.
The last gag is so good.
It's
in the tag.
The tag's funny, but the thing that Selma says, to Troy McClure, very brilliantly written line. Good night, Troy. I'll always remember you, but not from your films.
It's a perfect line. Yeah,
good. It's great.
It is really good, and I love his movie at the end.
Contrapulous Fabtraption of Horatio Harfnagel or whatever.
So I was trying to like decode what movies they're like referencing. It's like The Rocketeer, maybe, or like
it almost feels like something that like when I hear that title, I think of The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which is a movie that came out 20 years later.
Yes, me too. That's why and I think that movie, it did okay in the box office. It wasn't necessarily a bomb, was it?
Was that the one? Was that Heath Ledger's last movie?
Yeah, and a bunch of actors came in and filled in.
Yeah, and filled in for him.
Yeah.
But the last delivery because it's written and directed by Troy, like, will this gamble pay off? 20th Century Fox is betting. It will. So good.
Oh my God. Man. I'm like, oh wait, I have so much more to say about that episode. We have to move on. We have to move on.
No. Man, part of me, like whenever we cover The Simpsons, I'm like, maybe we should have just done a Simpsons episode by episode podcast when we saw it.
That'd be so good.
Oh man. Okay, let's go on to Bart and the Road. We got a lot. We got two more to talk about. Great episode. Billy, why did you choose Bart and the Road?
I've realized over the years this is my go-to to introduce people to the show.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's been the one I think consistently gets like people are like, oh, I get the show, because I think The Simpsons tries a lot of stuff, so maybe finding one that's representative of everything is kind of hard.
Totally.
But I think this one absolutely is.
That makes sense because obviously like the main plot is so ridiculous and outlandish.
Yes.
But it's also got that really heartfelt B plot with Homer and Lisa. So like it is a good it is good at the like different kinds of stories that this show can tell all in one, Yeah. And
I even love all of Marge's scenes. Like she's at home alone and she wakes up Maggie just to feel needed.
So bored.
It's like that kills me every time I see it.
So good.
And how every time somebody calls home, she answers so excitedly, but they're actually wanting to talk to the other family member.
Right.
This one's awesome.
The first time that happens is brutal. When she's like, Homer, you like never call me.
Yeah.
So brutal.
Yeah, she's so surprised. You feel the 10 years of like wanting that. It's excellent.
I always like this episode, but man, watching it this time, I was like, oh yeah, this one is so funny.
It's even the beginning,
little gag, it's very funny from the beginning, but like when they go to the Cracker Factory, Milhouse at the Cracker Factory, oh my god,
all the gags of the kids at Bring Your Kid to Work Day is so good. And then where did they make the peanut butter cracker? The crackers with the peanut butter already in them. And I love that. I know this isn't this episode, but I love that the Cracker Factory becomes like a recurring thing for the character.
He gets fired later, right?
Yeah, he
does get fired.
I don't recall saying good luck.
One of the best lines ever. So
I love all the gags of them and Martin making like $1 million and losing it all like in a second.
It's great. And then just like obviously it's so silly for them to rent a car, but like it starts with the idea is like, oh, Bart has a fake ID. What are all the things that these kids can do with a fake ID? And those bits are funny, like going to see an R-rated movie that's disappointing.
They go to the bar and they see Barney and they're like, fuck this.
Of course. And Nelson's like the perfect, like they always do like the the humor of the mundane in these like shows, and Nelson's excellent at providing that this episode because he's like, oh, we should rent a carpet shampooer. Like
his idea of like fun and luxury is so different because of his life. A carpet shampooer. I like when they like the whole gag of him making them stop to see Andy Williams is
oh
so
my god,
that drawing of him is so funny.
He's so cute. And then I didn't think he'd play Moon River, but then bam, second encore.
Perfect.
And Nelson's awesome in this episode. Just him like when they're driving by and the family's like, if you guys keep it quiet, there'll be no Cape Canaveral for anybody. And I drive by Cape Canaveral sometimes, so like I get to think about that line a lot.
He like ruins their trip.
He reaches in and slaps the kid's head and turns around.
Good.
It's such a great episode. And can we stop for ice cream, Bart? Can we stop at the way station, Bart? Pick up the hitchhiker, Bart.
And he asks for ice cream.
Yeah, the hitchhiker asking for ice cream, and he's like, the way he talks is so like, oh, can we stop for ice cream? Like,
dude,
I love that he knows his name too.
They I think Nelson hits like Milhouse and he says, Bart, Nelson hit me, and he says, he sure did.
It's a great example of why these four are such a good four pair up of of people. They all have, they're all like it's funny because it's almost like a perfect it's like a perfect scale of like, because like Nelson is like kind of the cool bully. Bart is like one step one step below that.
Yeah.
And then you got Milhouse, who's a dork and friends with Bart, and then Martin's who's like the uber dork. So there's like a whole array of like, it's the perfect lineup of like.
They're also complimentary. And Milhouse is, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was going to talk about the next episode. My brain's, because there's a lot of Milhouse in that episode too. So I'm getting a little twisted. But I love the gag of Bart telling Milhouse he has an ID that's completely fake, and then he's like, "That's so lame," and he goes, "Well, that would make it a fake ID," and he's like, "Oh my god, cool!" Yeah, that's such a great Milhouse moment.
Oh, so good. I liked the moment. There's a great moment in the car where he accidentally calls him Milton.
Yeah. And then like when he corrects him, there's like silence for a little bit. Like
that was like a real fuck up.
Yes. And then I love go ahead. No, go.
I was gonna say, speaking of the car, since we're talking about them in the car, there is that revolutionary shot of, like that starts at the top and like goes all the way, like, oh man. And the fact that they were able to do that when the show was just drawn by people.
Like, they traced, like, they did use computer animation for that.
Did they?
They traced the 3D model after doing the animation.
The computer.
If I'm remembering correctly, please, if that's wrong.
From my commentary database.
Yeah, from my commentary, my 10 plus years ago commentary database. But I always wished that more cartoons that are 2D would try to do that, where they would take the 3D, and I guess Spider-Verse does that a lot, but it's obviously way more complex than that.
Right.
Yeah, these days they'll just do it in 3D. They're like, well, we'll just cell shade it and make it look
and
like
it looks fine.
2D.
It works for sure.
Right. Yeah. But there was something to like, which is, the thing is, it really is expensive, so I get it. But
absolutely.
Like that, like, there's just like a whole section of shots like that in my brain, like the Pinky and the Brain intro from Animaniacs.
Oh yeah,
they pan out and like the inside. They drew that building.
Right.
Like,
it looks so crazy.
You know what I mean?
Or like the staircase and the movie that was never finished. You guys.
Thief and the Cobbler.
Yeah. It's insane to see like perspective and rooms change and objects change.
I guess the latest example I could think of something like that is in Steven Universe, the Change Your Mind, the part that James Baxter did where White Diamond kind of twirls around a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
She like, I remember I saw people like arguing like, oh, she's obviously CG. You guys are fucking stupid. Then he dropped his pencil test and he definitely drew that shit.
It's incredible. Yeah. And that's always going to be like a super memorable moment for that ending. It's it just elevates it so much. But that car shot is incredible.
It's great.
I agree.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So great. I love the moment. I love Milhouse convincing them that the place to go is the World's Fair. Because like obviously to a kid, something called the World's Fair would sound so cool. Like, you know what I mean? Especially in that age where like the fair is so fun. Like the World's Fair, like the biggest fair. So that moment where like, all right, it's between Disney World and Knoxville. Knoxville. Which also I think is fitting that you chose this episode, given that you just did all the Disney World tourist traps.
And I really love actually seeing like where they're driving through, because like it is the South. They're driving through Macon, Georgia, which I've driven by like a bunch, and they're clearly headed from the West Coast. If you do the geography, I think I know where Springfield is.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, shit.
Don't tell anybody.
I won't. But yeah, I love the World's Fair, like as the backdrop for when they get there, and it's just nothing. And Milhouse is like, is there another one coming soon? By Friday?
I like that when they get there, Bart says, we only have 4 days.
And I've of course like the wig shop is like, dude, it's one of the most iconic. Of them,
that shot with them with the wigs on is like an iconic Simpsons.
It's so good. The hard cut from so you guys gonna buy some wigs or ain't you? And it's so fucking funny and
it's so good.
Yeah,
I forgot what Bart's solution was to try to
Yeah,
leave.
me
I
too.
forgot
Yeah.
about the like he was like
A
jumping
courier.
on planes. Yeah, like he's like
Yeah,
a fucking.
it is kind
like,
of an
mule
out there
and shit.
one.
Yeah.
But the Lisa storyline is like so good, and how it's set up for to like get that toward the end.
Yeah.
This is my favorite. I think my favorite Homer and Lisa storyline ever.
It's a good one.
I think it's just like pure wholesomeness, like low stakes, and it really highlights like why they are. Like, I think Bart and Lisa are some of the best relationship in the show too. But I think there's something about Homer and Lisa that's like such a great dynamic.
It's so great. It made me realize that like that is definitely a relationship that's like ripe to explore in a video, because they have such good have such good chemistry, and they have so many good episodes that are about them, and like, you know, they butt heads a lot, but they also have such a like clear chemistry and love for each other in so many episodes. I almost watched Lisa Sachs afterwards, because we watched these 3 episodes, and then we watched the New York one, which is the top of season 10, and right below was Lisa Sachs. Like, oh, should I put this one on? I might watch that tonight. But they're so great. And then also I like that this resolution it's a Bart and Lisa. It kind of stealthily becomes a little bit of a Bart and Lisa story, because Lisa has to help Bart, but it becomes about Homer caring about this connection he's formed with Lisa so much that he's not even going to do what he would normally do, which is totally chew Bart out for this. He cares more about Lisa, and he cares more about what he's done about his relationship with Lisa and how important that is to him. So it's a really nice way they bring those together. Yeah,
I really love it, and I think it's so sweet at the end when Marge is just completely left out in the dark, and everyone's like everyone's so mad at Bart, and like Homer snickering at her when all the calls are coming in at the end. It's like, with Bart in Hong Kong, and the little storyline about Principal Skinner like making school get out a day early so he could go to Hong Kong,
go to Japan.
He won't have to pay $8,000 to get his ticket advanced.
So funny.
It's
I think what really makes the Homer and Lisa story like really great, like to your point, is that you think about a lot of the other ones, and there's like what's the one when they like bet on the sports games?
You know
what I'm saying.
She's like
Lisa the Greek, right?
Lisa the Greek.
Yes. You think about like that one, or like, you know what I mean? And like sometimes, a lot of the time, there's a part in the episode where there's like a falling out between them. Like, and you know, those episodes are good because they always get back together and you see how strong the relationship is. But this is just like, this is like the father-son version of like Pixelated and Afraid from a couple years ago. They do not argue. It is just relentlessly sweet, and they love each other.
He just wants to hang out with her.
Yes.
And like, I love how they make the environment fun. And I always love this like thing about like Smithers kind of like having a soft spot for Bart and Lisa.
Yes.
So when he's like walking by and they give him the Jolly Rancher and he's like, "Good work, Simpson." Simpsons. It's like, it just makes my heart warm. And I really love the interaction when Homer calls Lisa, you know, Marge hands the phone to Lisa, and he goes, "How's your spring break going?" And she just says in like the sweetest voice, "I'm learning about owls." It's like,
she says, "I can learn about owls at bird camp."
She's already gonna go to bird camp.
She's getting ready for bird camp. It's like that's like one of my favorite exchanges between them in the whole show. It's just it's so nice, and I do love your point about like Homer's only challenge in this episode is like not hurting his relationship with Lisa, and it's like it's a quick decision for him to make, and I like when Homer gets a moment where he figures something out, you know, like it's
oh my god, and the
satisfying
the solution to order the console. And he's like, "Yeah, we need a T137."
Funny.
I think because I'm seeing that yours is fully operational. He just pours the cola all over.
Oh my god, it's Springfield. You're operating without a T137.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
It's so good. Oh my god. Oh, this is a great episode. Great choice, Billy.
Super solid. Thank you.
You guys anything else about this one? Oh, I do like one of the Marge gag I laughed at the most was her watching TV, and the TV commercial just says, we're going to teach you how to corner the real estate market through hypnosis.
Just late night TV, just nonsense. Oh, and one other joke I loved in this one is Homer asks Lisa, "Is there anyone you like?" And she says, "Langdon Alger," and he's like, "I have no idea who that is."
Yeah.
And she's like, "No one does." Like he's really quiet and likes puzzles. And then later,
likes puzzles.
Later when he brings him up, she's like, "Oh, I don't like him anymore." And it's like the next day.
She hasn't even, and it's been spring break. She's not been at school.
She hasn't decided, so her mind can change. That's so funny. I like the when Bart calls Lisa and he's like, "Look, I can't do this shit anymore. They're sending me all these different places." They try to send like a shipment of Big Macs to Marlon Brando's island. Oh man, it's so funny. I love that shit. That shit is great. And one of the first jokes of the episode that I really like, when Bart actually goes to see Patty and Selma, and they say, "Some days we don't let the line move at all. We call those weekdays."
Yeah.
Perfect DMV commentary.
I love that they laugh together about it too. Like, it's not just a show. It's not just a joke for the show. It's like they're making it together.
It's also just a funny thing about the show. Like, obviously, it's universal that the DMV is awful, but in this show, it's these two who have chosen to make it awful. It's great.
The main character's sister-in-law. Just ruined the DMV.
All right. Should we move on to the last one?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. This is the finale of the season, right? Summer 4.
Yeah, it is.
Great episode. I've always loved this episode.
Me too.
So why did you choose this one?
I think growing up, this was pretty definitively my favorite episode of the show.
Nice. A Lisa app. You got two good Lisa stories in your choices too.
Yeah. I guess I like Lisa Simpson. She's a fun, cute little character. But season 7 was the first season of The Simpsons I was really able to dive into because it was the first one I ever got on DVD. And so I definitely gravitate towards the whole season more, but I've always loved this episode. I always saw myself as a little dorky kid. So it's like the empowering the dorky kid episode. It's really great, and Cool Lisa is iconic. And I think I might like tie-dye because of that, you know.
It does feel like such a good like obviously I think they probably could have gotten away with doing an episode like this sooner, but I think it hits harder because it's 7 seasons in.
Yeah.
And we know Lisa so well as this goody two shoes, like teacher's pet type of character. So we've got all these examples of her being this way for years.
Yeah.
That's her archetype. So like if they'd done this in season 2, you would have understood it. But
of course,
I think it just works better knowing the character for so long and kind of getting where she's at. And man, it's such a good episode. It's very funny, but it's also, but I also just love how heartfelt this story is. And like, I really feel for Lisa in this episode.
I think that's why I like this one mostly, is because of the heartfelt stuff. The other two are just so fucking funny and have some heartfelt stuff in them. But like this one's like this Bart and Lisa, like that gets at my core. And I'm like, I love seeing them work things out together.
Yeah, and I like that. It's like it's really primarily a Lisa episode, but then it kind of stealthily becomes a Bart and Lisa episode at the end. Yeah. And it's great. But there's some good jokes up top, like just Milhouse doing the sprinkler stuff at the beginning is so fun.
So iconic.
Animated
it's like
really
It is. Yeah.
It's his iconic animation in my mind. If he was in Smash Brothers, him doing that'd be a Smash Brothers taunt for sure.
And then just Bart saying, Milhouse, try to show some dignity.
And I love how immediately after the first bell of the day rings and he runs out like it's summer vacation already.
Up your escrobaffle.
So good.
Dude, the scene in Lisa's class where Miss Hoover is describing Abe Lincoln and like what happened to Abe Lincoln, and like all the kids get up and run out, and there's 2 kids left. There's Ralph and there's the other kid, and then Ralph says like, "Is Abe Lincoln okay?" And then she says yes, which is deaf a lot. And that one kid just gets up and leaves. That's what I wanted to know. Yeah, that's all I needed. He just gets up.
I even just like the way she delivers it. He goes, he was fine.
She's so checked out. It's like so funny. She could not give a shit.
This is a line that I never picked up on, but I had to rewind it because it's so silly. But it's when Ned is pitching the beach house to Homer, the first thing he says is, "I'm in a rhubarb of a pickle of a jam here." Which is an insane sentence, but I was like, I don't know why I never processed
so
that
funny.
line.
They just string so many words together.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty crazy.
That Homer's body language when Flanders is explaining to him what happened to his his country, like his
He's so
vacation home.
annoyed.
He's like doing this, and then like Flanders has to practically give him an ultimatum to take a vacation. Like he's like, you can stay here and have a vacation.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's in it for me? Like, will you fix my fucking
me?
yard?
Yeah, his septic tank. It's his fucking septic
he's
tank.
the
And
worst.
so, like, what does he say when he comes out?
Says,
Like, let's see what.
See Flanders, if you get a little, you get a little.
Yeah.
But when Flanders is looking at the septic tank, he says something like, "All right, let's see what's going on in Browntown." Or something
he goes
like
that. I think he says Mr. Brown Ground.
Yeah,
Mr. Brown. That's good.
and I love when he pitches it to Marge. The first thing she says is, "You sure Flanders won't be there?"
Yes, and the Flandersers won't be there. Oh God, I did. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just real quick. You know, there's no real answer to this. I just was curious what you guys thought. But like, is Janie Lisa's friend or what? Like, Lisa could not get any signatures in the yearbook
when she needs one.
Right.
Just when she needs one.
I mean, you'd think that at least like, well, it was also funny because like I was thinking about how she's got her like kind of adjacent friends in the show that you see her kind of be friends with.
Yeah.
But
like Janie and Sherry and Terry.
But they even brought in new characters for the yearbook stuff. Like, and I think
I was like, who are those girls?
Yeah, and I think there was partially because they wanted nerdier girls because nerdy people do the yearbook stuff or whatever. And B, I think it might be for that reason to not bring in characters who we've seen be friends with Lisa previously, so that they can kind of really enforce that idea that she's got nobody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was interesting. It's like I'm sure those were choices that were like specifically discussed when doing the episode. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that the passing of the yearbook in a perfect circle is so
brutal.
Sad.
It's so brutal. And when they're unboxing the yearbooks, one of the girls, it's like a very Futurama joke. She says that the leather oleum covers were worth it because you can really smell the benzene.
Yes.
That is a Futurama joke.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a David Cohen pitch.
Right.
And I love Skinner lining up to get his book signed by Bart.
So funny.
Yeah, even Skinner.
Yeah,
So,
and your daughter's name is Seymour.
Oh man. But the like core issue of this episode I think is so great, especially like what I said, it's so good after all these years of kind of knowing who Lisa is.
Yeah.
For her to like really have to reconcile with like, oh man, like and it is also like true that like, yeah, we've seen her with friends, but like she doesn't have friendships like Bart does.
No,
there's
no Millhouse character.
No. And so for her to like reconcile with that and be like, I'm gonna change who I am for this trip and like make new friends it's a great idea. I love when they're all saying goodbye to things and she just says bye bye Lisa Simpson as they drive away.
Yeah,
it's a great act out. It's really good.
I always love like it's like almost I feel like it's kind of like Wes Anderson-y, like the very profound like children's like moments.
Right.
Like this is the most profound thing in my world right now is like leaving my clothes behind. But like
totally.
you buy into it, right? Like it's great. I love it.
It's great.
I love the scene when she's about to pack. Well, first of all, I really like Marge saying that she when she was a little girl, she thought that her daughter would be her best friend, and Lisa just without a doubt goes, "You are my best friend, Mom." I just I thought that was really sweet. But this part, that part also has what I think
if it's not my favorite Marge line, it's like in the top 5 when Lisa, I forget who's on the cover of the book she's
the author
at,
or whatever.
But she's like he's kissed more guys than I have, and Marge says girls, Lisa, boys kiss girls.
And Lisa's just like so over it, like it's like.
Oh gosh, it's so funny. That is such a good Marge line. She's
so
sheltered.
Because that's the thing. It's not even like a homophobic Marge line. No, it's like she's literally just
like correcting her daughter. Yeah, and it's like a habit. Like she's heard it before. Like,
Oh gosh. When they get to I'm not even gonna try to say the name of this place that they go, the town that they go.
But America.
America, you want to attempt it?
I do want to attempt
it.
Little
do it.
Pragmata Square. I can't do it. Little Pragmata Square set port. Little Pragmata Square. Okay, I'm done.
I wonder how many times it took them to record the line.
She says it. Marge says it so effortlessly.
Well, it is America's scrod basket.
I love how irritated like Marge is when she says, "No, Springfield's America's crud like bucket." Bucket. Like she's so mad that people are shit talking Springfield.
Oh man, the gag where Flanders has labeled everything is great. I think like the escalation of it, like fill me in the water tray. It's like, well, duh. With what, Ned? With water.
I love that it's Marge that's annoyed too. When there's something so much funnier when Marge is annoyed with Flanders.
Yes,
like
because Homer's always annoyed with him, even when he's being the kindest person. When Marge is annoyed, it like hits different.
I wonder how many times Marge. I'm only bringing this is gonna sound like a super like nerdy thing because it's like why do you know this reference off the back of your head? But it's literally because I just edited with it like 2 hours ago. But I wonder how often Marge says "well, duh." She says it in that. I use a clip in the video I'm working on now. I use a clip from. What episode is that? I don't even remember I think it's from season 3 though, when Homer's like, "Look at me, I'm making people Flaming Mo. Look at me, I'm making people happy in Magical Land from Candyland." And he closes the door. Opens back. If you didn't know, I'm being sarcastic. He shuts it again. Because that's what she says.
She's just a little fed up.
I love Marge.
She's great.
I love when this is another. There's all 3 of these episodes had little gags that I just didn't remember. I laughed really hard when she's wants to go somewhere with Lisa, figure out where to go, and one of the places she suggests is Big Sue's Tap Water Taffy. Tap water taffy is the funniest concept I've ever
especially
heard.
In a beach town.
Yes.
It's just a little lame.
Big Sue.
Oh man.
I didn't remember when Bart and Milhouse tried to like go in the water and they couldn't, and then Homer is in the water with the fucking car.
Yeah,
says low tide, boys. And he's like skids. So funny.
Okay, well, what do you guys think about like all of the interactions between Lisa and like we don't even learn her friends' names really, but like her new cool friends, her new cool summer friends. I love
girl's named
sequences.
Erin. I wrote down.
Erin. Okay, there we go.
So she's the only named one, I think. Not to be like a
this is not the podcast to whip out your deep Simpsons knowledge.
Your Simpsons will actually.
I wrote it down this morning because I watched it this morning.
So yeah, I love how she gets to know them, and
me too.
I think what I love most, though, is that, like, yeah, she's trying to be less geeky and show off less of her geeky self. But the thing that really gets through to them is her geeky interests. She's just kind of
when she lets it slip out.
Yeah. And it's when she brings them to the beach to show them all of the stuff at low tide. It's like it is fully her, like, educational geeky side coming out, but her just being a little more
there, being present.
Yes, exactly. And I love that they didn't like make it so that she's only got these new friends because she's acting like someone else.
Yeah,
it's actually because she's able to convey her interests in a little bit of a different way in this episode.
And they remember like what she like told them about too at the end of the episode. It's like they appreciate that quality about her, and I love that like so much. And when Bart shows them the yearbook to like out her as a geek, so I noticed a little something watching these episodes. And Bart on the Road, Lisa says she's never heard of the grammar rodeo.
Yep.
But in the summer of 4'2", Bart reveals that she attended the grammar rodeo.
Yep. I noticed that. I noticed that as well. I expect that is mostly a joke because I'm sure that the writers just loved the term grammar rodeo.
That is extremely funny.
Rodeo.
All of these episodes are in the back half of the season. So
Right.
I'm sure that like they might have talked about the shit on the same day. You know?
Or does Lisa hear of the grammar rodeo and then make the grammar rodeo happen at Springfield Elementary because she hears of
founded the grammar rodeo.
She's like, well, Bart lied, but that is a good idea.
It's also it would be in between spring break and summer vacation as well, so she got it done like
2 months.
Oh, it's so good. Oh man, man, that's so good. I also just love how like their like plan to show Lisa how much they think she's cool and they like that they remembered what she taught her it's like cool because it relates to her, but it is also the dumbest plan anyone's ever had to glue all of those shells onto a car. It's insane.
The again, just hearing the room, Dan Castellaneta, sweet merciful crap. It's so funny.
Oh my god, they're so good, and I love the storyline of Bart like wanting to be the cool kid, but Marge like
he does it to himself, dude.
Like, he does. He's so lame in this episode, and I love like he's a little boy, and like it's just so like it's cute seeing him like just get called out for being like a Dennis the Menace type.
Yeah, dude. The slingshot thing is so funny. You're like, look at him with the slingshot in his back pocket.
And there's something about the writing in these like season 7 and 8. Like I think they're like really, really in tune with just like the scripts for every episode. Like I love the joke where they're like, if my mom was here, she'd be like butting in with Rice Krispies and Tang. And then Marge immediately steps out of the room, and later she's like, no, Bart, you have to like leave Lisa alone and let her get to know her friends. Yeah. And it's like that joke is like it's in her character. Like it's really well thought out.
That's a good way of looking at that.
Yeah. And I love when they make the beach plans too, and the one kid's like, I'm French, like I only celebrate Bastille Day.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we can have a beach party. And he goes, well, I know where to get baguettes.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And even just like right before that, like there's something so funny to me about like, well, the interaction where Bart's like, she's using all my lines, and he goes, don't have a cow, man. And Marge's like, you haven't said that in 4 years.
4 years.
But I laugh so hard when then you just hear her go, ay caramba, and everyone laughs. It's so good. Just Lisa saying ay caramba is so funny.
Yeah, it's just like clearly taking it from Bart. Yeah. And Milhouse is also like, he's such a great presence in this episode.
Yeah.
Like when they're not impressed by the dud. It's like I'm so like seeing that smile animation on Homer.
Dude,
is like
I was just gonna bring that up
for me.
The like smile animation is so perfect. I rewound it and I was like, you gotta look. I said to my girlfriend, I was like, hey, like watch this again and look at Homer's face. Like just specifically look at Homer's face here.
You see him realize it. You see him realize how much it looks like Milhouse. It's so good. And then when Bart blames like them thinking he's lame on him, he's like, no, they must have saw you, Milhouse.
Right. This poor kid.
It's so funny.
Bart has I think Bart, one of Bart's lines is my favorite in the episode. When the kids don't want to, when it's obvious that the kids don't want to be friends with him, he says, this is the worst 4th of July ever. I hate America.
It's just, I love the kid logic, like following.
Yeah, right. Like, I think, like you were saying about like the writing for like these episodes. And what I love about them is that like, I think this is like the most authentic
the show has been to children, like to just children and like how they think, what upsets them, like what they care about, like how quickly Lisa's just like, I don't like that kid anymore. Like there's just so many like things like that. In this season.
The one I always think about, it's from this season too. It's the Bart sells his soul when he gets $5 and Lisa goes like, "Where'd you get $5? I want $5."
Yeah,
like that's
like,
it's just incredible. That's like incredible writing. Like,
that's a great episode too. It's so funny that
it is.
Bart sells his soul always felt like seasons 3 or 4, or like a 2, 3, or 4 episode to me for some reason. It's like, I don't know, it just feels so like it's a pretty funny episode, but it like is really existential. And I feel like there's an era of the show where they were transitioning like kind of into the more comedic, and some of the episodes were a little more existential. And like, so I don't know. And I guess I had like all these Simpsons VHSs as a kid, and one of them, and they were just from random episodes across the series, and that was one of them. And I just always like, in my brain, it was just like, nope, this is an earlier episode. Like to realize it's season 7 is kind of a surprise to me.
It's like the episode of Lisa and Bleeding Gums Murphy a little bit.
Right. Yes.
It's just a lot of contemplation. Like,
totally.
It's cool. Yeah. I like that stuff in The Simpsons.
Me too. I do too. Yeah. I love that.
I'm going to start talking about Bart sells his soul, so we got to keep
going. Cool. We'll have you back. We'll have you back to finish season 7.
We can do Oops More Simpsons.
Oops More Simpsons season 7.
I want to shout out at the end, towards the end, after Bart screws over Lisa at breakfast, when she grabs Bart and is yelling at him like,
oh my God,
like, that performance, great pose, and the performance is so good. You can sense how angry she is, but she's doing like the quiet angry yell, like, like the whisper yell. So great. Yeardley Smith, incredible.
And then the reveal that Milhouse has heard the whole thing is
perfect.
So, oh boy, a carnival. And then I also like immediately after Milhouse getting in between them, spitting on each other on the ride, and like, he's just getting the worst of it.
It's the poor kid.
Oh, it's so good.
There's the stint with Homer and the firecrackers is relentlessly stressful when he lights it on the oven and then it like breaks off.
Yeah.
It is the most stressful thing ever. But I think you hear like the writers from that era talk about how they approach the show and how there's like a flexible reality, how there's like they bend certain rules, but they adhere to certain rules. And when you do that, you make it even funnier when you break rules. And I think that bit is like the perfect example of that, because he lights the fireworks with the oven. He freaks out, doesn't know what to do. So he's like, I'll just throw it in something that's in the kitchen. It doesn't fucking work like that. But he does it anyway. He throws it like under the sink. Well, first he tries to throw it in the fridge and he's like, oh shit, the beer.
Yeah.
And then he throws it under the sink. But then when it explodes, there's like a real world consequence. Like the sink like just kind of starts to flood.
It's so weird. I love that it's not the expected thing, which should just be the sink to blow open. Like it's this weirder like black sludge coming up from the sink. And then the immediate next, he walks away from it and Marge is cleaning it in the next shot. Like,
right. Oh
so
man,
good.
So good.
A good show, man.
And then just a perfect ending. Like the yearbook is like, hey, I showed them your yearbook again, giving her the yearbook, and they've all signed it. Perfect. Just a perfect way to end the episode.
Yeah. And of course, Milhouse signed it too.
Yes,
see you in the car.
See you in the car.
See you in the car is good.
Annoying Milhouse thing.
I know.
It's so perfect.
Oh, wait. I forgot about this. I have this in my notes too. Do you guys remember like the bullshit Homer buys trying to hide the fact that he's getting illegal? He gets like condoms, 2 enemas, porn magazine. Like, what the fuck?
Am I right in remembering that the magazine's called like Huge Asses or something like that?
Gigantic
asses. But it's Marge's line afterwards that's so funny. And especially because she's not like even upset or alarmed. She just says, "I don't know what you've got planned for tonight, homie, but count me out."
Count me out.
It's like,
oh, it's so good.
So funny. Oh,
so
man.
good. Oh, what a good episode. Great choices, Billy. These are
thank
man.
you. Thanks for having me on, guys. Y'all are so fucking awesome, and I have so much fun doing this.
Good. We're gonna have you back probably by the end of the year for Futurama if you got time.
Awesome.
Because
I do. Just let me know.
Great. Because with these next 10 episodes coming out, I think we're going to jump into, we haven't even told our audience this yet, but we're probably going to jump back into our old format briefly to do like episode by episode about the new season of Futurama. But if you ever want to come on for one of the new ones, let us know just to do that. Okay. But B, if you want to do your Oops All Futurama where we do 3 Futurama episodes. And then the ones you had chosen were like very lore heavy ones, which is like talking like future. Actually, we should call it Futurama lore dump with Billiam.
I just love those episodes so much.
They're great. And then also but there's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure about it, but the finale of this season has a title that has me like suspicious it's going to be a heavy lore one that might relate to the ones you chose. And so if that's the case, that
would be a lot
fun. Yeah, it would be really cool.
I really like the last season to come out.
It's good. It's solid. Like there's some stinkers in there, but I think there's some really fun ones. Yeah.
Futurama's always had stinkers.
Yeah. True. Did you have a favorite?
Dude, I was watching one of them that I had to do it because I was working on the Hermes video. What fucking episode was that?
Was it the vaccine one? Like the
dude, I hate that one. But there was a man, I don't remember what episode it is. I just know the B story, and I remember watching the B story and being like, "What the fuck?" It's the so when they make beer in Bender.
Oh yeah, weird B story. I don't remember the A story of that one.
Episode is I just know I had to watch it because of Hermes. It might I think it's the root of all evil. It's the root of all. It's the one where
totally what it is.
The
first real introduction of Dwight. It was supposed to be the introduction of Dwight.
That's why I had to watch it.
Yeah, even though he technically, because they aired things out of order, is first introduced as a Munchkin in Anthology of Interest 2 in the Wizard of Oz sequence.
So weird.
Billy, did you have any favorite Futuramas from this last season? Like, were there specific ones that you really liked?
I loved the first episode.
Nice.
It just gave me a lot of confidence that the way they were going to be like tackling like new issues was like very traditional Futurama. Yeah. Like their commentary on AI is the same shit that they've always done.
Right.
Like it's just the robots in a boardroom, and it gave me confidence that they were going to do a lot more like that vaudevillian kind of style that they do so well, and the who's on first kind of back and forth. Like it's just very classic feeling. So I was really appreciative of that. I'm trying to think. I love the last episode too.
The last episode is great. It's so good.
Me and Johnny really like that Christmas one.
Yeah, we love the Christmas.
Zoidberg.
The Bender Zoidberg pairing where they kill Santa.
I would need to see the season again though to give a more definitive answer. I really liked it though. They're like, it was the toy one I didn't like, and it was like the anthology one.
The anthology one.
Overall, it was really good.
Yeah. I was surprised. I remember because I got screeners last year, and I remember like receiving them. I got them like a whole month early, and I was like, oh my God, it was like a shock to the system. We're like, I'm about to watch a new Futurama for the first time in 10 years. And watching the first one, just the way that they followed up the clip, like the end of the last one, and the way that they they didn't ignore plot points that had happened. Like they resurrected Calculon and everything, the way that they didn't ignore all that stuff. I was like, oh my God, I've got it instilled such an excitement and confidence in me about it that I was like, oh man, all right, cool.
They're going to do it right. And I think once again they changed up showrunners, right? Is it Ken Keeler is now the showrunner?
No, I think it's still David X. Cohen. I think he's
interesting.
I don't think they've ever changed showrunners on Futurama, but they definitely. Well, the weird thing about Ken Keeler this season is that he's writing under a pseudonym and the pseudonym reads non-disparagement, basically. So I don't know if he's talking shit about the show or if he's just like doing it as a gag, but it's like the name you'll see is Nona Di Spargmente.
So stupid.
That's so weird.
It's very weird. So he wrote the Old West episode, which is okay, right? But he
goes on.
And
even that is I like their like classic
take on it.
It wasn't the best, but it was better than I expected.
Yeah, and then he's got a writing credit still under the pseudonym for the next finale, which is of course written as though it might be a series finale. This will be the 5th time that we've gotten a potential series finale, even though the show the show has been picked up for 20 more, so like it won't be, but they wrote it as like this could be the last one case. So like that's just gonna, we'll get 6 of those by the end of the show at least, which is crazy. Man. Cool. Well, we'll definitely have you back for Futurama. This was great, dude. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. Do you have anything you want you have anything you want to plug?
I'm getting ready to finish up a series on the TV show Lost.
Hey,
that's the next thing that's coming out, is the end of like 24-hour retrospective on that show.
That's so
and
crazy,
so
dude.
I'll be very light on my feet. Once that's done. So if you have a lot of hours, then you can stay tuned for that.
A heavy weight lifted from your shoulders once you're done.
But
with
we'll
this
be
one.
making a lot of fun stuff after that. So nostalgic stuff, come check it out.
I haven't watched.
I was telling Johnny.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was telling Johnny that I'm in one of them. I just don't remember which one.
It's the second. You're in the second one.
Second one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I had people do guest roles in that one, and it just created this much extra coordination I had to do. So it's like, not again.
Not again. No more. I still haven't watched your Lost videos, but only because I'm like, this, like, once you put it out, I was like, I want to rewatch Lost. I haven't watched it since it was on TV, and I don't want to experience it again through your videos. I want to watch it and then watch your videos. You know what I mean? So I got to find the time to be able to binge Lost again.
It should be coming out on Netflix this year sometime.
Beautiful. It's gonna be number one for a long time once it does. Cool, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was so much fun. All right, I'm gonna do my goodbye spiel. Tariq, do you have anything to plug?
Monday streams. We fund my cartoon.
Hell yeah, dude.
And the gaming channel I started with, Hats Off Media, You Laughed, where we play licensed cartoon games, even though he somehow talked me into playing The Walking Dead, so I guess we're doing that.
Good game.
It's one of those games that exposes my very poor reading skills because I can't read the quotes too fast.
Oh man, I'm playing Ace Attorney again right now, and that would be a tough
Stay
one.
away.
It's so much reading. It's so much reading. Oh man. All right, cool. With that, I want to thank Carrie Feek for our artwork. I want to thank Jake Neutron for our theme song. I want to thank Michael Yunez for producing and editing the podcast. I want to thank Toonrific Tariq for co-hosting every episode with us. I want to thank Billiam for being our lovely guest today and bringing us some great Simpsons episodes to talk about. I want to thank everyone on our Patreon, the cursed ones, for supporting us. We couldn't do it without you. We want to thank everyone else for listening. Couldn't do it without you. We love you so much, but also, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah.